I'm so happy to be here. And there are a lot of voices that I used to hear online. I know today I'm going to meet them physically. I'm so happy to be here. And please, I want us to celebrate the rector, Dr. Kingsley, for the amazing work that he has been doing in this place. It's quite amazing. From very far, I've been seeing all that he's been doing, and it's been quite amazing. Okay? I want also to celebrate my wife. My wife is here with me this morning. Mrs. Nkemjika. And by the way, MC, Nkemi is fine for me. Okay, good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to be speaking on a very short topic, and my topic is building intelligent and resilient organizations in an age of disruption. In an age of disruption. And I regret the slides are not up there, but I would have loved that they do, but it's okay. Okay, and then please, Prof, I salute you. And then, Prof, good day, sir. You're welcome. And Ma, people are getting ready to, to squeeze us. You see, it was very good that she just finished before I came up, because a lot of what she's going to say actually relates to what I am going to talk about today. Okay? Now, I'm going to begin by asking us some thought-provoking questions. Now, the first question that I am going to ask us is, what would happen to your business cash flow if another COVID type of lockdown happens next year? Have you ever thought of that? What if there's another lockdown next year and then we are all asked to shut down? What is going to happen to your cash flow? Okay? Now, the next question I'm going to ask is, what is going to happen also to your cash flow if a war breaks out in Nigeria? You know, every day we hear about terrorism, we hear about crises here and there. I know some of you are actually saying, God forbid. Me, I'm saying, God forbid too. Are you getting me? But as businessmen and women, as business executives, we really need to ask ourselves this question. What if another war breaks out in Nigeria? What is going to happen to your business? What's going to happen to your investment? So the next thing is, you know, a lot of us have a lot of faith in Google and Amazon, all those cloud-based platforms. Now the question I want to ask, what if there's a cyber attack? We hear about cybersonic missiles, right? What if Russia succeeds and then nukes America? What if it happens? So what is going to happen to all of your company's databases that are online that you think that they are secure? What if it happens? What is going to happen to your cash flow? How is that going to affect your business? Have you really thought about that? Okay, what will happen? You know, nowadays sometimes you see somebody wake up and then a very angry customer goes on social media, and some of them are ready to pay, right? They will pay content creators, and then they will start agitating about a particular brand. What if there is a PRO crisis? And that crisis begins, and it begins to disrupt everything that you have built. What if that happens? What is going to happen to your cash flow? Have you really taken time to think about that? You know, I get involved with forex trading sometimes. And I like one of the things that they used to tell you. Whenever you tell somebody I've opened a position, he will ask you, did you put a stop loss? You know, a stop loss is usually what controls the amount of money you are ready to do what? To lose. So whenever you are going into the forex market, you have one thing settled in your mind that you are going to lose what? You're going to lose money. And the stop loss is just basically you accepting that I'm ready to lose $1,000 today. I'm ready to lose 200 because one thing is certain, whether you want it or not, one thing is certain is that you will lose what? You lose money. And I want us to understand, friends, that we are really in an age of disruption, whether you want to accept it or not. Like we've mentioned, we have a lot of global conflicts here and there, terrorism, trade wars between countries and companies. Technology is fast changing. There was a place where I was and people were discussing, and a business CEO mentioned that his company has rolled out about 3,000 AI applications. And I'm asking myself, what are we doing? The change is already here with us. There's a disruption. The last one we saw, I remember back in 1999, 2000, when we had the other technology crash, and a lot of people started moving, people lost jobs. But guys, we are in another one, and this one is not just an ordinary one, but this one is overlapping. A lot of things happening at the same time. There are regulatory surprises. We all woke up one day, and madam, hey, somebody's pointing at her. We woke up one day, and we all heard there's no hiding place again. A lot of people used to say Nigeria is a good place for business and a lot of things because you can evade some things. But now, this is no more business as usual. How are you going to survive? Have you ever thought about that? A lot of all these issues are there. And if you are a visionary business owner, business executive, individual, you must understand one thing, that we have moved from VUCA to BANI. Okay? We've moved from VUCA to what? To BANI. You know, we used to talk about the VUCA environment. We talk about volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. But now, it's no more. We are now in the BANI world. That's the new trend now. We are in a world that can easily break. A world that creates anxiety. A world that sometimes things don't make sense. You see a company today and tomorrow, there's a problem. I was just coming out and I read an article. Somebody just posted that while Tesla, Elon Musk is trying to build electric vehicles, and we think is the new trend. Now, we just heard that there's a new invention that somebody built a system that can harness carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, convert it to real fuel. They have tested it, and it is real. And you don't need electricity. You know, for you to drive electric vehicles, you need to find charging points. I was the other day in GAC, and they were displaying their vehicles to me. They were, you know, one of the challenges they actually accept is that there isn't enough charging points in Nigeria for you to deploy those kind of vehicles. Okay? Now, but somebody now has already come up with a technology that can harness carbon dioxide that is in the atmosphere very freely, convert it to real fuel. Elon Musk must be a very worried man. Are you getting it? So we are in an age where whatever competitive advantage you have is going to be disrupted. One thing that is certain is that disruptions will come, whether we want to accept it or not. So the big question that we must answer is, how will businesses survive these disruptions? And whenever I look at them, I remember two scriptures. I'm a Christian, bear with me. I remember two scriptures, Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 11. Solomon said, I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, not yet favor to men of skill. But he said, time and chance happened to them all. He said, for a man knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly on them. So, one of the things that we know is that disruptions will come. But Charles Darwin said something that is very important. He said, it is not the strongest species. After studying nature, he said it's not the strongest species that survive, not the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to what? To change. So we live in an environment that is rapidly changing at a rate that we don't understand it, almost like a forex chart. One time you are in gain and the other time it comes down. That's what the burning world is going to be. We are just at the beginning stages of these kind of disruptions, and a lot of them are going to be coming. So how are we going to survive? Charles Darwin makes an extract from nature and tells us it's about the organizations that can most respond to what? To the changes. So how do I achieve this? How do I achieve this? Now, when I sat down to research and go through a lot of contemporary researches, at least I tried to look at MIT, McKinsey, Harvard, International Standard Organization frameworks. Two words have been very prominent, and those two words are organizational adaptability and organizational resilience. Organizational adaptability and organizational resilience. And when we talk about adaptability, we are talking about the ability to sense changes in your environment and quickly respond to them. And the second one is organizational resilience. Resilience is about anticipating the shocks, expecting them to do what? To come, and knowing that nobody has a safe net. Nobody is secure anywhere. It can happen. A lot of big companies that we used to know, today are no more. Why? Because they overestimated their strengths. So if any organization is going to survive this kind of bunny kind of world, we need to think seriously about adaptability, and we need to think about what? Resilience. Now, like I said, why did I now choose to talk about intelligence and resilience? I tried looking at three organizations. One, MIT represents research. We all agree. ISO represents standards. Standards, if you talk about standard requirements for organizations, you talk about ISO. And then McKinsey talks about consultancy. So I looked at all of them and their reports, okay? And one of the things that was very clear from MIT is that organizational intelligence interprets the environment, and adaptability turns insight into what? Action. Intelligence interprets the environment, adaptability converts the insight that we get from the environment into actions, creating a continuous cycle of learning and responsive change. Okay? Now, going very quickly, since these two concepts are the concepts that we are looking at, we saw that the most prominent are adaptability and resilience. And at the foundation, at the very core of adaptability is organizational intelligence. I don't want to start going to adaptability because it's quite wider, but at this point, we can all relate at the point of organizational intelligence. So that's why we decided to look at organizational intelligence and resilience as two components. Okay? So I'm going to now talk about organizational intelligence. So what is organizational intelligence? Is it about having smart people in your organization, employing people who have first class, who have masters, who have PhD? Is it what it's about? It's quite beyond that. It's about the processes that you set up. It's about the systems, it's about the cultures. Because every organization is driven by processes and by cultures. Regardless of the strategies that you put up, your culture can be your downfall. Do you agree with me? Regardless of the processes that you've put in, you require cultures, strong organizational structures, cultures to drive, to sustain your culture, to sustain your structure, and to drive the strategy, whatever strategy that you have come up with. So the first point that we look at when we talk about organizational intelligence is continuous learning and adaptation. Now, the question I want to ask you, your organization, does it have a means of extracting the information that goes through the organization? Every single process in the organization has an input and also has what? Has an output. And all of those points are points where we gather data. What do you understand about your market? Or are you running your business on assumptions? You know, we are in the Southeast, and a lot of people within the Southeast believes that we celebrate a lot of supermen entrepreneurs, right? That's why we don't have a lot of corporate organizations in the Southeast, but I thank God for some very illustrious sons who are beginning to set up very big organizations. Okay? Now, but one of the things that we must settle is to ask ourselves the question, do I have systems that ensure that there is continuous learning within my organization? Now, back in 2017, we set up a school. I'm very much into education, so don't mind me. Sometimes I make reference to that. So in 2017, we set up a school that already started. Back in 2017, I want to believe some of us were not exposed to the Google suite. Google Classroom, all the things that we're celebrating. But back in 2017, already we had a school that was already into Google Suite, the Google platforms. And we also had to deploy Moodle. It was a secondary school. Don't mind me, it wasn't a university. But it was a secondary school. All the students within the school had laptops. And people thought, we were overdoing it. But there was a vision. There was a vision to bring learning closest to these children. And one of the other things that happened is that we also discovered that something like the CCTV, we think CCTVs are for security. Now, but outstandingly, there was something that happened. We found out that with the CCTV cameras in classrooms, they could actually become a tool for extracting information about teachers' performance in class. And with that, we could put together data. For instance, on Monday, if there was a student sleeping in your class on Monday, and then there's another report, a student sleeping in your class on Tuesday, another report on Friday that the student was sleeping in your class, and then by the time the people in the CCTV, those guys were not security people. They were academicians who were there picking up the data. And when they put it together, they could tell that there's a problem with these teachers' what? Lessons. Are you getting me? Now, what happens is that academics department will call you and begin to analyze your lessons. Begin to analyze and go through, find out how to improve what you are doing. And that way, it was a process. It was a system that helped us. Things that we think that they don't matter. We thought they were ordinary, but it was a system that helped us to do what? To continually learn and reinvent what? The system. So do you have a system? How do you gather or extract information from your organization? Continuous learning. Here comes the butcher. Okay, don't mind me. I'm a man of many words. I'll try. Okay? Wow. So what makes an intelligent organization? I've already talked about that. We've seen that. Now we talk about what makes a resilient organization. We've already seen is about what? It's about adaptability. It's about anticipating the disruptions and preparing to do what? To, absorb the shocks and then move forward. And not only just absorbing the shock, but to come out stronger from whatever disruptions that comes to your organization. So I'm going to go very quickly to the big questions and then I'll round up. Please, we go to what must a CEO do? Number one, every CEO must make sure that he is the architect of cognitive infrastructure, that is systems of learning within the organization. It's no more an option. Learning systems that make sure that you are scanning your external environment, learning from your external environment, and also learning from your internal environment. What are customers saying about your products in the market? What are your production people? Sometimes we think strategy comes from the top. No more, it's no more like that. Because the reason why companies like Google are the way they are and are churning out products every day is because intelligence even comes from where? Comes from people at the lowest what? Level. So it's about collective intelligence, bringing data together, and not just bringing the data together, but making sure that you analyze it. So the first thing is that I must own my company's nervous system. Information is your company's nervous system. Just like you have come to learn, your company needs to learn. Not just the CEO, but there must be a system that makes sure that everybody within the company continues to learn and develop. Now, second one, you must make sure that your organization builds and learns faster from the changes within the market. Okay, because of time, I want to respect time. I'm going to try to get to my conclusion so that I'll make sure that I respect time. The slides are there. When you have time, you can look at it. So I get to my conclusion. My conclusion is that we operate in a world defined by brittleness, anxiety, non-linearity, incomprehensibility. That is the bunny world. That's the conventional now. We've moved from the VUCA to the bunny society. And in this reality, resilience alone is not sufficient. And intelligence without durability is fragile. The only sustainable path forward is the integration of both. Leaders who fail to architect this synthesis, bringing resilience and intelligence together, are not merely risking inefficiency, but they are strategically aligning their organizations with the past, a past that no longer does what? Exist. Because change is so rapid and astronomical that we must learn to adopt, survive, and use it as an opportunity to build global organizations. Thank you.